on point. What is the difference between the net enrollment, or is it a positive or a negative? And if you take that number of enrollments, well, how do we count our active students? Well, the only way we can count those active students, that's why we have our card system. So everybody who comes in, we have those 2 card boxes. And if you've tried the automated system, look, we tried it with the scanners and every other coming on the iPad. We've gone through all of them. None of them gave us a clearer picture than the simple 2 card boxes out on the desk where they come in and 1 box in the office. So understanding that, you see, marketing is about getting more students. But if you don't control your dropout, you end up having to get twice as many. So we've got to, if we're going to fill up our school, we've got to stop the bleeding. And that can be done immediately with the card system. I don't want to take up your time today explaining that card system, but if you don't know how that works, then we do have how that card system works on our member group there that will explain it. Or we can go over it on one of our Thursday meetings, because this one is supposed to be about the marketing. But if you don't know how to calculate what is my active count, that means that they came in the last 30 days. So let's say November 1st, I had, and I'm just going to use it for round numbers. It doesn't matter what number I pick, but let's just say 100 students. So November 1st, I had 100 students. Let's say by the end of November, I enrolled 12 students. So December 1st, that means that I should have, if nobody dropped out, I should have 112 students. If I count my cards and I find out that I now have 102 students, that means I had 10 dropouts. And you see, that's what the number I was talking about. That's like the 10%. That's instant death. But all I have to do is, how many did I have at the beginning of the month, plus how many did I get during the month, and then at the end of the month, what is my total? And then I subtract it 1 month from the other, and then that's going to tell you, is that a positive or a negative? If I should have had 112, and at the end of the month, I have 110, well, that means I only lost 2. Well, that's the kind of number we're looking for, that 2%. You following me? And we don't count the final number on a weekly basis. We wait till the end of the month, because when they miss 1 week or 2 weeks, we still are trying to get them back in. So guys, do pay attention to that. But let's talk about that grassroots marketing that's going to get you all those students. And those videos, those 3 videos that Bob showed you, when you watch them and you've got your columns there, internal marketing, what are we talking about when we say internal marketing? Anything that you do in the school that can generate your students bringing their friends, or anything in your school that you do that will generate people coming into your school. I've seen people do a women's self-defense something, a bully-proof something, and open it to the public, or invite your students and they bring a friend, birthday parties. I mean, you have so many things you can do. Even social events, like one of our biggest social events where we got more buddies to come to a live event at the school was our Halloween party. And it was so much fun because everybody dressed up in a costume. We gave awards for the scariest costume, one for the most original. We gave the best family group, because you know how a family will come in and all of them will dress up in one theme. So we had all kinds of awards like that where we give out little medals. We would do karate games at the party. We would have a potluck dinner. And then, of course, the friends that came in, those people all got a free 2 weeks. And then we followed up at the party to make an appointment to come in for that first one. And that slip that they filled out was just the permission slip from their parents to make sure that the parents gave them permission that they were going to be coming to our event and being able to participate. And anything you do in the school, anything you do external, your number one goal is to get their contact information. Your number two goal is to get an appointment right then on the spot. And that applies straight across the board.
And Master Smith, I also posted in a Facebook group the marketing checklist and also the marketing calendar done by one of the Mile High schools. So it breaks that down for each month, showing a number of the things that you just mentioned.
That's so helpful. That's so helpful, Bob, because what happens, guys, is whatever you did last month, you put that on your marketing calendar and you move it all forward. Yeah. You try to set it up again the next month, plus new stuff. So you keep building your own marketing calendar. And that's what our Mile High schools did, is they had, when January 1 hit, they had their marketing calendar set for the whole year. Now, it wasn't etched in stone. Every month they would be adding stuff to that calendar, but that was kind of like their starting work list. And that checklist is to remind you. And Bob, could you pull that checklist up for everybody so we could just, Master Oliver, I didn't want to not recognize you were on here and have you interject there if you needed.
I was doing my best for a change not to interrupt. So good. Yeah, let's definitely pull up that marketing checklist, and that's very useful. And there's a lot of other interesting questions in there, more questions for Thursday or Tuesday than for today.
Exactly.
But Matt Smith, one of the things I thought might be useful right now is to recognize seasonality and how that works and what the opportunities are right now, right? And so, again, off this topic, what you taught me probably 40 years ago now is how to create December as my best month of the year and November is second best month of the year. But that's through a renewal blitz, which, isn't a marketing topic, for new students. On the renewal blitz, we tend to do more revenue in December than we would have in any other probably 3 or 4 months put together, and more months, more in November, December than maybe any 5 or 6 months put together. As far as marketing to get new students, what we know is October, November, and December are 3 of the best months for finding and getting in front of live events, right? So there's all kinds of opportunities. Normally, you and I are, and for me, going back to the first Karate Kid movie, big fan of movie promotions. I will say, Disney in particular, but the movies have been a pretty big disappointment recently, right? Is what I would have expected to be the best movie of the holiday season, being the Marvel superhero movie. It was a bomb. It had, one of the worst, I think the worst Marvel opening ever, and then it fell off a cliff the second weekend. And if you look at what movies do, what happens with a lot of movies is they have a big opening weekend and then a big second and third weekend. That means that word of mouth is positive. People going to the movie like it. And if they have a big opening weekend and then crash, oftentimes that means that their marketing efforts were successful. And then when people actually went to the movie, they went, or said, well, that's horrible. Don't see that one. And then it falls off the cliff. And that's what happened with the Marvels. Then Wish was their Thanksgiving animation release. It didn't do very well. You know, even the Willy Wonka movie, which I don't think is a Disney movie, but you know, its early tracking numbers aren't very good. So it's not looking like this holiday season is a good one for being in movie theaters. However, it's always a good time to be in a kiosk in the shopping malls. Um, you know, last Friday would have been, you know, a premier time to be at a shopping mall event, at a kiosk, that type of thing. But all the way from now until Christmas, and even after Christmas, some of the busiest shopping days are the days between Christmas and New Year's, are a great time to be in the shopping mall. Also, there's lots of Christmas holiday events, activities. Depending upon what area of the country you're in. If you're in Florida or Arizona or Texas, they may be outdoor events. If they're anywhere else, they're probably indoor events. But there's all kinds of events that get tied into the holidays that happen in December. So those are a big opportunity. However, what I've always considered is that December is a great time to generate leads and January is a great time to enroll them. So what we have a tendency to do is gear up for doing direct mail, email, text messaging, live outbound telemarketing right after Christmas in order to kick off January super strong. So January is a great time. The mistake that I've seen both our schools make and our clients make is waiting to kick off January until January and then having a good finish to January and a weak start to January because the world kind of feels like it winds down. And if you don't really hit the marketing heavy, generating, you know, lots of traffic right now, but hit the lead follow up heavy in right after Christmas and in the first week and two of January, don't start off strong. What I'd like to see you do is plan on starting off super strong the first week of January, the second week of January, and so forth. Matt Smith, there are any number of other Christmas related or holiday related things that schools do during January. And we can kind of go through tick off a list and kind of give them an ABC on efficacy. What the internal marketing that you're talking about, Master Smith, is great for a school that has 300 students, horrible for a school that has 50, right? So our threshold historically has been around 100. You know, once I break 100 students, I've got critical mass. So Jeff Cielo, you know, you could do all kinds of internal stuff and have a great results for it. I saw William Wong on the meeting a minute ago. He could have great results. Anthony, you're kind of getting into that range. But if you're not at 100, 120, 150 students, most of the internal marketing stuff is going to have a hard time catching much momentum and getting much critical mass, right? But Christmas is a time when you can do holiday parties, Christmas parties, all kinds of other stuff. It's a good excuse to have one. You can get good turnout for them. You can get lots of friends come down for them. So it is one of those things that if you have critical mass, you can do a lot of stuff with. The other thing, Master Smith, is the Christmas certificate things, and I've always done that stuff. Do a 1 month certificate that you can sell with a uniform, a 1 month certificate fashioned as a Christmas card that you can give to your students with a $200 or $300 value that they can give to their friends. Again, all of those things, on a scale of ABC, they're kind of a C-level marketing activity. They're inexpensive to do. They're probably worth doing if you have a lot of students. They're probably not worth doing if you have a small number of students. But the certificates where you're gifting mom and dad to come in and take lessons, you're getting 3 quality printed, look like Christmas cards, certificates for your friends to gift to their friends. All that stuff is worthwhile. It's just, you're going to have a few people come in. You're not going to have a lot of people come in, right? So what you're going to do if you have 250 students is it might be good for getting 10 or 12 enrollments. If you have 100 students, it might be good for a couple, 3 enrollments. Nothing to write home about. Um, it's nowhere near as efficient as I go get a kiosk in the mall. I'm at a movie theater during a big blockbuster. I'm at some other life holiday event with a booth, and I can get a lot of lead flow, and I can get 80-90% of them make appointments on the spot and then create a bunch of traffic. And then nowhere near as efficient as I go through all the leads that I've generated going back a year, year and a half, 2 years. For those of you who have been with us for a while, you probably have quite a stack of leads that you haven't converted, and really hitting them hard after Christmas and hitting them hard early in January to jumpstart your marketing efforts. One of the things, Matt Smith, I always did, and this is one of the conversations about having a big marketing budget as opposed to a small one. But I always put about 3 months worth of marketing budget, meaning newspaper advertising, TV, direct mail, and so forth. I always put about 3 or 4 months worth of marketing budget into January because I knew it was a time that everything I did was going to work pretty well. So I would back down on the budget pretty heavily in November, December, focusing on live events, and then I would take that money plus the money that we sucked up from the renewal blitz, put it all heavily into January, and just kick off the new year strong. And historically, December would be an okay month for enrollments. We could still do 12 or 15 enrollments in December, or if we had a big movie, we could maybe do 20, 25. But January was oftentimes the best month of the year. And so we would really kick it off, hit it hard, and do everything under the sun. Everything from PE Teach for the Day in elementary schools, after school programs in elementary schools, live event marketing to generate lead, paid media, direct mail, everything we could to kick off January super strong. Is that a good summary for the seasonality, Master Smith?
Yeah, I agree.
And Mr. Dunn, did you pull up that marketing checklist?
I have it, sir. If you could add me as a co-host so I can
Oh
screen
yeah,
share.
because I took it over to Stream Live, so
Yeah, no problem.
you are now co-host.
But then also back on those the Christmas gifts that you were mentioning, Master Oliver. So if you go into the Facebook group and you just type in Christmas gift, there's a couple of ideas. Here's one from Master Smith that was shared from, I believe, Mr. D. Castillo.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
Yep. And so this was the gift that was sent out in a card and along with a letter. There was one other one too that I wanted to show that Ron Kuhn had done, which was very good, that anybody could purchase for a grandchild, son, daughter. Here it is here. So Karate for Christmas, and package included one private introductory course, gift certificate for 1 month of martial arts lessons, martial arts uniform to wrap for under the tree, only $89. So there's a couple of ideas in there. Let me go to.
And I'm sorry, sir. What is that under?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Do you need?
What was that under? I just pulled out of the
I did a search for Christmas gift.
Gotcha.
On our Facebook group.
Yeah, if you could see on my page right here on my left, that's my search function. And then this is the annual marketing plan from one of the Mile High schools. So you can kind of, I also posted this up in the Facebook group so you can get an idea of some of the things that they're doing. In this
I did. I was not the one that put Kwanzaa in there, by the way.
But yeah, there's a number of others in there. And then let me get back to the checklist. Hold on one second. Marketing checklist. Screen share. All right, here it is.
And you see right there where that's what I was talking about, the 20 marketing ideas. Are you doing at least 15 to 20 things? And that's what's going to generate it. But you got to go through each of these to check off what you're doing just to remind you, because people will forget all the things that there are to do out there. Bob, if you could post that on our Facebook group too, that would,
I already did. Yes,
okay,
sir.
perfect. And,
Yep.
and you see,
Where do you want me to stop?
actually just go to the top and then we'll just kind of walk through it. If anybody has any questions as we go along, we don't have to explain every single one of them, but if there's anything that you need clarification on, um, you know, hosting at least 2 big buddy events per month, you know, having, and does everybody know the difference between a pizza party and a birthday party? I mean, obviously the pizza party is just like a birthday party, except you're doing a pizza instead of a birthday cake, and it's not a birthday, right? What I always did, and Bob actually showed it when he was going through his Facebook, our Facebook page. He was going through, and I had a couple gift certificates there that I give the students when they enroll, and the gift certificates. Yeah, you want to show them that, Bob? Yeah, keep scrolling that way, you'll find it.
There they are. Is it
No,
not?
keep
No.
going. Keep
For
going.
the pizza
Right
party,
there, right there. So when a student enrolls, I give them the karate birthday gift certificate, and I give them, go back down a little, Bob.
Down?
No, the other
Up?
way. Okay, party package. And the party package is kind of like a pizza party. The reason we call it a party package is it's an excuse for them to have a party with their friends. And that's like a pizza party. That's a party that's not a birthday. So I tell them you can do it at the end of school. You can do it for your, you know, sports team. At the end of the season, you can do it for your Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. You can do it for your church group, for your neighborhood friends. So it's just an excuse to get together for a party. And then I give them 2 of the 2-week passes for a friend that they can pass on to their friends. But those are things that if you haven't included that, would be a good opportunity to send them that in a Christmas card as a thank you. Here's a couple, you know, gifts for Christmas to pass on to your friends. And
Yep.
This way you have something extra that you're sharing with them. And now your students, whether you have 100 or 2 or 300, you have them being able to share some of this and pass it on for you. And you've got a built-in audience there. Thanks, Bob. You can go back to, yeah. And this is a part, the family enrollments is a good time. You know, during Christmas, I know Master Oliver was famous for gifting a lot of uniforms, you know, for a parent or another family member. You know, putting that in a Christmas card to your family, to them, is for any family member that wants to. It's a free month of lessons and a uniform as a Christmas gift from your school, and they can do it. They can use that with a family member, or they can use it, pass it on to a friend. And then going on down to your grassroots marketing, there's signage and using your storefront. You know, some of our schools are real good with the A-frames. You know, they're situated where they can put that A-frame wooden sign out that'll attract people. I don't know if you guys, whoever got to go to the Thornton School, you would see that they had a big inflatable out in front to draw attention that the school was there, an A-frame there, things on their windows for any kind of a special or anything that's going on, any back to school or any Christmas specials or anything like that. But does everybody know what a VIP on the sidewalk in your shopping center is?
yes.
Yeah, and that's just and Master Oliver, I love your story about one of the Mile High schools that was having an issue with getting enough traffic, and then maybe you could fill in that story of what you told them and what they did.
Oh, the VIP thing.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean it's a classic story of something working so well they never did it again. But this was the laziest crew of people that I had yet come across, and by repetitiously yelling at them for probably 45 days in a row, they begrudgingly took a clipboard and guest passes and stood in front of the Italian restaurant five um, doors down and made, I think it was 35 appointments in an hour and a half by just talking to everybody who came in and out of the restaurant for lunch hour. And of course, it worked so well they never did it again. So, but again, going back to all these things, Master Smith. One of the things is, if I'm a small school, what I've got to do is I've got to take massive action and prioritize the things that are going to create a lot of lead flow quickly that aren't dependent upon having a big number of students, right? So I can do that with throwing lots of money at it, or I can do it by throwing labor at it. I can't do it with neither, right? So I can throw labor at it by having a kiosk at the shopping mall, having a booth at a blockbuster movie at a big multiplex, by being at a big Christmas holiday event that's going to have lots of traffic. Those tend to be the more natural ways. Or I can go, the pure one-on-one labor approach by something like that, just standing in front of the restaurant down the street and asking. I mean, Bill Clark built 25 schools, and that was their primary marketing tool for years and years and years. I will tell you, as an owner operator, it's hard enough to get yourself to do it. It's hard to get your staff to do it and do it repetitiously. But that is something that works great.
Excellent. Scroll down, Bob. And you know your rack cards and fundraising and all of those things, your bandit signs. Those the mistake that people make with those is they think if they put out 10 or 20 of those that's going to be good enough. I mean, you really need to be putting at least 20 of those out per week, and you've got to do that on a regular basis.
Rack cards?
Rack cards
or bandit signs?
Both.
Yeah. The rack cards. What we found is if you have maybe 200 specific locations, it's good for 3-4 enrollments a month, right? And it's one of those things where you can put 100 out in a day or two, and and really what you're best to do is just go put a lot of locations out. But again, rack cards, bandit signs, all of that stuff is going to be a trickle that's a good support tool for everything else you do. Shouldn't be the primary thing you do, right? And again, it's one of the 20 things in the Parthenon. It's not the primary driver, really, now or ever.
And the real key is pay attention to their sheet that they fill out when they come in. Our intro sheet when a new student comes in for their trial classes, we have them fill out a little form about, and one of the questions is how they found out about us. And we have a bunch of things there, and we say check off all of the ones that you've seen and then circle the one that got you in today. And that way it was never surprising that when people fill those out, they had so many checks just to let us know that our marketing is working. If I had a school that there was only one check on there and they didn't check anything else, then I know they weren't doing enough of the full Parthenon of marketing. They were focusing only on one or two areas. So your live event stuff, a lot of people think that during the holidays that doesn't work as well, especially in some parts of the country where it gets cold. But these parts of the country where it does get cold, it's not like it never got cold there before. People are used to dealing with the cold. And what happens is most of them have indoor activities going on. There's a lot of Christmas activities going on. where people, do special events during Christmas time and during the holidays. So that's the time to see what's going on in your area. Get on the internet and find out. That's why if you missed Halloween and Thanksgiving, those are big months too. And then January with New Year, you got a lot of stuff going there. But each season, it doesn't matter. 4th of July, Easter, uh, February with Valentine's. You got to get into your seasonal marketing too. And for your kids marketing, going down a little bit, Bob. For your kids marketing, that's going to be working with your schools, working with your, and don't forget the daycares and of course, in the summer, we have all these summer camps that are going on if you don't do that yourself. But a lot of these private schools or these, what do they call the Montessori or these the schools that for the younger preschool? We do take kids that are 3 and 4. Some schools don't do it till they're 4 or 5, but depending on the age, don't forget it doesn't have to be an elementary school. It can also be some of these preschool stuff.
For the daycares and stuff, is the idea to have them come to your school or for you to teach there?
We find that it's usually easier to go there for them. And you go in and you do the same program you would do at an elementary school. Is you go in with your 6th lesson, and it's going to teach some life skills or character skills. And on each one of those classes, we give them an assignment where they get a chance to earn their white belt and stripes on that belt, and then have a big graduation at the school at the end of that. Master Oliver, I don't know, filled up his schools in Colorado. That was his big home run every year.
Well, to be fair, not with daycares.
No, I'm just talking about the school programs.
Right. Yeah, and Matt Smith, to maybe expand on that, that was Anthony you asked that question?
Yes.
Either way, what we would have success with oftentimes is getting the summer camps to bring the kids to us with their vans and buses and so forth. And a lot of these, especially after the school age kids groups, do have their own transportation in part because they're picking the kids up. And Matt Smith, the one thing I might say differently is it depends on the daycare how many kids they have, how many of them are school age, meaning they're at least kindergarten age, on what my approach would be, right? If there was a big community center and they have 185 school age kids for transported after school care, yeah, I can do all kinds of stuff with that. On the other hand, if they're like most of them around here, they might have 15, 20 after school age kids. And if they had, 15, 20, 25, 30, I wouldn't do the 6-week thing. What I would do is I'd do permission slips and do a 1-day activity so that I would get permission slips. Years ago, Toby, when I taught him how to do this, one of the things that he innovated with, and I thought it was great, is he would send a staff member over to the daycare at 5 o'clock and make appointments with the parents for the follow-up lesson when they pick the kids up, which, is even better, especially given how hard it is to get hold of people on the phone right now. So, Anthony, with the daycares, if you can get them to bring them to you and you can get permission slips, absolutely, you're better off with that. What we would often do, though, is line up 30 or 40 of these in a month or two, get permission slips out ahead of time, go do a little 1-day, like a first intro, send a staff member over when the parents are picking the kids up to make appointments with them. And the warning I would give you is there are a lot of daycares that have 6 months old and 12 months old. And I found myself even with you show up and everybody's in high chairs, ready to see the karate thing. That's not very helpful. And again, Matt Smith, you were talking about the after school enrichment program. If I'm at an elementary school with 300 kids, the beauty of the after school enrichment program is we could do the promotions and get about 20% of the student body to sign up for it, right? So we would end up having 300 kids in the school, 60 or more signed up for the after school enrichment program, a third or more of them enrolled. So, so it would be 300, and then it would be 60 kids in the program, 20 enrollments, and a couple of those a month. You got a hell of a result going on. Other times we would have maybe a school of 500 or 600, like here, some of those charter schools are really big. So we could go into a school of maybe 600 kids and end up with 100, 120 kids. But numbers were roughly 20% of the kids in the school we could get enrolled for the enrichment program. And of those, roughly a third of them we would enroll in the school. If you went to a daycare and they had 30 kids in after school age program, and you did the same thing, the problem is you get, of their 30 kids, you get 5 or 6 of them to register. And then what I would find in a daycare, even then they'd be inconsistent. So you're showing up 6 times for 4 or 5 kids, and still you'd enroll maybe a third of them. So if I'm showing up for 5 kids and I enroll 1 or 2, I didn't want to invest being there physically 7 times. I'd much rather, be there once, get permission slips, and then, follow up with them from there. Yeah, and that full program, Bob, you're showing them in the Facebook.
It's in the Facebook group, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I did a search for after school enrichment.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions on this stuff so far? Always like feedback.
When you do these, make sure that every marketing thing you do, that you track your stats on it. You want to see from whatever marketing thing you did, how many leads you got, how many appointments you made, how many came in for a first intro, and how many signed up. So keep those stats so you can analyze which ones you need to do better on, and which ones were your home runs, and which ones you need to do again, and which ones do you maybe not want to do again.
And on the live event marketing, I think it's important too for everybody to understand, if you get in on one, take advantage of that. Whoever's coordinating that, I'm sure they have future events coming up, and I think it would behoove you to have a little conversation with them on any upcoming events so that you can go ahead and knock out some more events in the future while you're standing in front of that person, instead of going and chasing the bird again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scroll on down there, Bob.
Yes, sir. Where are we at? Kids work?
Yeah, I think
we pretty much hit all of that, I think.
Okay. The drip system, online marketing.
That's your direct mail stuff. And go back to the direct mail, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Up a little higher. I go a little higher. Keep going. Keep going. There you go. Right. No, I'm sorry. You're right. Go down right there. That's good. I want to see the heading of that, Bob.
Communication or
Yeah,
priority.
there's something.
Right entry.
Yeah,
Interesting. There you go.
And this is where it says text messaging and live outbound calling and those kind of things. Those are on your prospects that you had, that you've accumulated, that you can put on a drip system, that you can do texting to. You can do automated texting. You can do automated voicemail. You can do postcards, direct mail and stuff. So that's what all of this is talking about. But where you get your list is all these leads that you've collected over the year and even the previous year, because you never know. A lot of times it wasn't that they didn't want to do martial arts back when you first contacted them. It was just that the timing wasn't right. either financially they weren't prepared or they had something else going on. So you got to keep them in the loop. That's why we like to put all our old prospects on a drip system where they're getting automated systems. And maybe you can talk a little bit, Master Oliver, about the retargeting.
You bet. You bet. Well, the probably the first thing and the primary, and Bob, you can stop sharing that. Probably the first thing, the primary thing is a basic marketing principle. What we'll talk with school owners, oftentimes they'll, let's take direct mail as an example. They say, I'm going to try direct mail. Okay, great. But what they mean by that is I'm going to put together a postcard, or I'm going to put together something, and I'm going to use, like in the US, it's Every Door Direct. I'm going to use something like cheap, like Every Door Direct, and target that neighborhood over there. Well, what the marketing principle is you're much better suited to spend the bulk of your time and energy on people who have already expressed an interest in some way, shape, or form than you are to be constantly chasing new leads. And although we want to be getting in front of new people all the time, what unfortunately most schools do is they make an inept attempt to convert people who have raised their hand at some point and convert them. Now, in the offline world, what that means is once you've got somebody's contact information, you spend money on direct mail, you spend money on a human being to follow up by phone, you spend money on organizing and doing email and text message and voicemails and all that other stuff. On the online world, when you're generating a lead online, is our first principle is leads that are generated online should be shifted offline as soon as possible. And what we mean by that is instead of I generate the lead online and then I send them, a constant barrage of emails. I generate the lead online and I direct mail to them. I call them. I do all kinds of stuff that aren't just online marketing. But the other thing that happens is when you're doing advertising online, is people will click on a form but then not fill it out, or they'll fill it out and never make an appointment. And the fact they've already shown interest by clicking on an ad, or they've shown interest by filling out a form but not yet coming in, that's the principle of retargeting. It's somebody expresses interest, and so I keep staying in front of them because they've expressed interest, right? So on there, and again, another principle is we can go from an offline lead to make it an online lead. In other words, if somebody came in for a birthday party and they didn't make an appointment to come in for a follow-up appointment, or they made an appointment, came in for a follow-up appointment and didn't enroll, we can upload that list into Google and Facebook and keep in front of them on a regular basis, knowing that they showed some interest, that they're a much more likely person to come in eventually and enroll than somebody who's never raised their hand in any form or another, right? So, Matt Smith, the specific term reading is, and here's an example, is a few years ago now, but I was looking for a high-end video camera with all the stuff that we do. So one of my go-tos is B&H Video, which is in New York. Another one is 42nd Street Video, which is also in New York City. And so I looked at high-end video cameras, B&H Video, 42nd Street Video, and Amazon. And suddenly, the specific camera I was looking for was a high-end, or a prosumer is what you would consider it, JVC camera of a certain type. Well, all of a sudden now, everywhere I looked, on Facebook and other social media and on Google and other Google sites, everywhere I looked, I was seeing ads for that type of video camera coming from 42nd Street, coming from Amazon, coming from B&H Video. All three of them were really good at retargeting. So they knew what I was searching for, and they were showing me what I was, specifically what I was searching for, plus showing me alternatives. And that went on for at least a month, right? So what they knew is a certain shopping cycle of somebody buying something like that, and they stayed in front. If you've ever asked, if you get this all the time. I see your social media is you like to shop for motorcycles and cars. So, just a shit ton of the ads that come on your feed all the time are ads that are showing you cars and motorcycles like what you were looking for, coming from Auto Trader, coming from local dealership, coming from, Cycle Trade or other sources. That's what retargeting is. So, but in order to do it, it's fairly simple. With Facebook, when you do advertising, you can create a group of, it's called people who visited your website. And so you just put a little Facebook HTML code on every landing page, and everybody who's shown up at your website, regardless of whether they filled out the form, you can tell it to target those people. You can also upload a list to Facebook. They call it creating an audience of your current customers. And then you can show them ad. In essence, you're retargeting because they're prospects who raise their hand somewhere else. And now you're showing them ads. In Google, you can do the same thing. You can put a Google HTML code on all your landing pages and website. Everybody who lands on your site, you could, and companies can get pretty sophisticated with this. I'm not sure you need to, but you can do it each any stage of the process have a different code and retarget those people. But really, what we do in practice is we have the HTML code. So anybody who landed on the website, we start showing additional ads to, because obviously they're interested enough to visit us. But also we can upload the list also into Google. They queue off a phone number and an email address. We can upload the list into Google, and then we can place ads at the that Google calls the retargeting list. We can show ads to the retargeting list. Right? So you can have the pixel on your ads for Facebook, and you can have the pixel on your, or the HTML code on your site for Google. And then when somebody arrives at your site from a Facebook ad, Google can retarget and Facebook can retarget them. When somebody arrives at your site from search, Facebook can retarget them, Google can retarget them. Or when you upload a list, Facebook and Google can both push ads out to them. So that's literally the idea, Mr. Smith, is just the online equivalent of once somebody raises their hand by landing on your website, showing up at a birthday party, showing up at a pizza party, filling out a form at a live event, you're much better off to do a better job of staying in front of them forever. It's the same principle as right after Christmas, do direct mail targeted everybody who has filled out a lead form for the last year. Do retargeting ads for everybody. Put somebody on the phone doing live outbound phone calls to them. So be really hitting those people and working on jumping up your percentage conversion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anyway, Matt Smith, we're going to run out of time before long here. John, is this all making sense to you? You're kind of our newest newbie on the meeting today.
Yeah, lots of it. Looking good. Sounds good.
Well, let me ask you a couple of questions going back to where Master Smith started the day. What are you charging now for lessons?
We're like 150
$150 a month.
a month. Yeah.
And how much are you charging for them to enroll?
Same initial.
The initial, I think it's gonna come in like it's almost 300.
So you're doing 300 to enroll, 150 a month. Is that a 12-month agreement, or is that month to month, or what is that?
Month to month. Yeah.
Month to month. Okay.
Let's see what happens in the beginning of the year. I'm trying to restructure it for whole next year.
Well, that's something I would recommend we work more closely together before you do that. One of the things that, and we should schedule a time if we haven't done that already for you and Mr. Smith to chat. At our high-end schools, the ones who are $1 million plus, they tend to be in the range of about $347 a month for a new enrollment, with $400 or $500 plus the first month initially. That's on a 12-month, what we would call a trial enrollment, which is about a quarter of the way to black belt, and then we're doing a more substantial renewal. And if you look at what I just said compared to, let's take a school that's at 100 active students doing 15,000 a month. Literally, that one thing changes a school with 100 students from makes them go from 15,000 a month to 35 or 40,000 a month, right? And what most people think is, well, if I raise my price 20%, like 20% fewer people will enroll. Doesn't work that way at all. In almost all cases, the enrollment closing percentages improve rather than decline. So the second thing is, do you know what your current monthly dropout rate is? That's what Matt Smith was talking about earlier. On an average month, what percentage of the students do you lose?
Well, we're doing pretty good right now. Like maybe 2 or 3 would be it. We just enrolled like 5 in this month, which is good. I also did some seminar for self-defense, and that worked out good. So I got to leads off that too.
How many
Okay, so
active do you have now, John?
Excuse me.
How many active do you have now?
We have like about 70 in 3 schools, so 3 studios.
And
yeah, so
you're about 70 in each one of them?
No, just
total.
combined.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 2 main ones, but one we're close by to us that we're just by a shopping center. We're starting to open back up again now.
Yeah, well, and again, the easiest thing for you to do, John, I mean, and it's simplest, I guess, maybe not easy, but the most important thing would be to get one of those schools really cranking. Okay, trying to pull 3 failing schools up by the bootstraps is a difficult thing to do, right? And I don't mean that condescendingly, but I mean
Yeah,
that,
they do like to feed off of each other because they're going, well, look, they're not doing it. So, I guess I can't either. So that's what Master Oliver and I did with our multi-schools. It's
well,
always-
and to give you, Jeff, how many active students are you running right now?
I'm at about 210 right now, sir.
Okay. And that's at one location.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, we got some echo there from. But within our group of school owners, and you're back in the fold long enough now to have a sense. How do you feel you're doing relative to most of the people you hear on the meetings?
I'm just starting to get
Well, no,
going.
I was asking. That was a question, Jeff.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on the phone. Let me grab this real quick. Yes, by far this has been my best November ever. I mean, I can just give you some quick stats, and here it is. I've got 26 enrollments and then 18 renewals. That's to date, and I still have appointments till the 30th. So I got two more days, and I even broke it down by, what I got from the Military Family Festival, from the after school program, Groupon, Google,
That's awesome.
and then family add-ons. I mean,
Go
it's
through
ridiculous
those.
if you do the work, and that's
Go
the thing
through those numbers,
that I
Jeff.
found.
Go through those numbers. Go ahead and do the breakdown. If you have them there.
Let me take that off of that.
And what are you charging a month now, Jeff? On a basic?
Okay.
What are you charging on a basic now, Jeff?
Am I still on? Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
sir.
good. You're good.
I apologize. Yeah. I'm charging right now $245 for the basic, and I finally dropped the Little Ninjas pricing, so now we're at $245 with them as well. And then we're doing 50 and 50 to go up to Black Belt Club and Leadership. And then what we're also doing is, in the beginning of the year, I've already told everybody that we're going to be increasing the prices. So we're going to be increasing the prices for our Leadership and our Black Belt Club as well.
Yeah. And our rule of thumb is, whatever you're charging for the new enrollment, Leadership at about double or more, and then Black Belt at about a 50% bump, a little less, right? And that's only as a fallback. And so Jeff, go through those. Those are, by the way, congratulations. You know, great enrollment numbers, great renewal numbers. People think November's slow. You know, they shouldn't think November's slow. But go through those numbers, where they came from and how that all worked through.
So what ended up happening is at the end of October, we were starting to get some good traction and what have you. And I had thought that I didn't need to do another live event. Well, I was wrong. I thought to myself, you know, here it's $1,500 for this event, which is the Military Family Festival. And it's basically a Halloween event, and it was on a Sunday, and I was like, I don't know if I want to work that day. And I just said, you know what, let me go ahead and do that. So I invested $1,500 in that, $300 for a bounce house, and then $120 for a clown that would do like balloons and stuff. Out of that Military Family Festival, we had 10 enrollments, which automatically paid for it. Then I did an after-school enrollment program, an after-school program with one of the schools, and got 5 enrollments from them. Then tracking back, now this is the online stuff that we're doing. At Groupon, I got 4. Google, I got 5. And then a partner in education, one from a just because I do I do PE teacher for the day. They recognized me, and so they signed up. And then it was a family enrollment. So that's a total of 26 new enrollments. That's new enrollments. And then renewals were 18, and that's a little bit skewed because I have families with that as well. So I'd say more like, if it says 18, I would say that's more like 12. They still have the rest of the month. They still have two more days because I'm trying to really close out the month strong.
Yeah, we like to count the heads, though. You know, we want to know how many students, so it's important to know how many enrollments, so how many people actually renewed, or how many people actually enrolled, even if it's a family.
Oh, even if it's a family? Okay.
Yeah.
So for the renewals, and it was a total of 18 so far, but I still have like 2 more days because I'm really pushing hard to get that number. I really wanted to try to hit 30 with new students is what I really wanted to do, but I didn't get it quite yet.
And how long did you sign up for first degree, second degree?
So those are leadership. All those guys are leadership.
And how long is your leadership?
Leadership is 72 months.
Okay. Did you hear that, Anthony?
So I had 4 for leadership and then 12 for Black Belt Club. Black Belt Club is 36 months. Leadership is 4 months. I'm sorry. Leadership is 72 months.
Perfect. And your basic is 12, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what did you charge for those renewals? What was your monthly on those?
So my monthly for those, like I was saying before, was $50 higher. So it was for the Black Belt Club, it would be $295, and then for my leadership, it's $345.
Okay.
And like I said, we're increasing that. We're increasing that New Year's.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even Jeff, even at the 345 for the 72 months, that means that each one of those renewals that you got on your leadership was worth $25,000.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And so just 10 of those would have given you future income for the school of $250,000. Just to give you, and that's not even your enrollments, right? And
yes,
that's
sir.
not even counting, that's only 10. It's not even counting the other 8. So you see, when Master Oliver said you did an awesome job, that's what we're trying to get everybody to realize, that it's not the price, it's not the time on the program. People will make the commitment if you pre-frame them that you are a black belt school. If you never talk about black belt, and if you never have that as the end result, is, you know, you got to be a black belt, you know, it's no different. There's no kid that goes to high school that doesn't think he's going to graduate. They all know they're going to graduate, and they all know when they're going to graduate. They're the class of 26 or 25 or 24, whatever it is. That's what we've got to get our students, that mindset, that why should they be a black belt and how important it is, and the benefits from it. And when you pre-frame all of that, that's how Jeff got all of those renewals. He didn't just go ask them, do you want to renew? This was something that was planned, that he prepped and pre-framed them on. And that's why doing the renewals takes a few more moving parts, because it takes a little more proof of concept.
Yeah.
An enrollment, you can get them in a couple classes, but for renewal, they've got to see that your program actually works.
Yeah, and again, it's not a topic for for these sessions, but John, you see what the potential is, right? Is Jeff, you're on track that if we keep you focused and on the same track, you'll be $1 million a year school by next Christmas, and it'd be a wonderful thing to celebrate, being a $85,000 to $100,000 a month school, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah,
And the part you're missing, I would venture to say you missed this month. It could have made it not just a record, but could have added another 10 or 20,000 to your gross, is that renewal paid in full. And not when you're renewing them, but the follow-up on that a couple weeks later.
Well, the good thing is you get a ton of renewals that you can go back to this week and do some cash deals. And again, to be fair, our mission never is to get people to, cash out every deal they do. What we want to do is we want to build that billing way up so that it pays all the bills, it pays the rent, it pays the payroll, it pays the marketing, all of that kind of stuff. You start every month at a strong profit, including you got paid regardless. But then what happens is if you did 20%, so if you did 4 paid in fulls, Master Smith, a good example is this. And let me pull it up here for a second if I have it.
Didn't Amanda just do a 40,000 something?
Yeah, let me pull that up real quickly here. This was a text I got last week from Amanda Christensen. Did I share the right one there?
Yeah.
It was they did one family leadership program that was $48,114, one check, right? Doesn't take very many of those to add up in a hurry, right? And so if you start looking at it, our formula going back years, Matt Smith, I think you and I have always been on the same page of this one, is kind of what we'd like to see is about a 50-50 ratio. 50% of the gross being cash that you did in-house, 50% being the monthly ACH or credit card, whatever it is now. And
monthly in-house is not just paid in fulls. That's your down payments, your first month's tuition, the new enrollments, the new renewals, and the paid in fulls.
Exactly. And if you err and make it 60% is billing, 40% is in-house, great. What we see nowadays is a lot of schools end up doing essentially nothing initially when people enroll, and they don't do much of an initial tuition on the renewal. They do very little in the terms of paid in full, and then what happens is they end up with 90% of the tuition is coming in through that monthly billing, and again, that's leaving a lot of money on the table. So
looking at Amanda there, Master Oliver, is they've been averaging close to 60,000 a month as their normal, and then you throw another 48 on top of that, and they just hit over 100,000 in November. You see, Jeff, that's what I'm talking about. It just takes 1 or 2 paid in fulls if you have the right people and you've got them, with that right approach. And we just posted some information on how to do those paid in fulls on our Facebook group because we are having a contest for December among our members to see who can get the most paid in fulls. And last year, I think the winner in the paid in fulls, just in paid in fulls, he did about 150,000, I think was the one who got first place.
Yeah, not total gross for that month.
No, that was just from paid in fulls.
Yeah.
In addition to his regular monthly gross. But most of the schools we found, probably the lowest they were getting 10 to 20,000 were the lowest, and the highest were going in up over even 100,000 for paid in fulls. And of course, that's not a year program. You're getting paid in full. This is like Jeff is signing them up for 72 months or a 48-month or a 36-month program that you're going to have them pay in full for and give them a 20% savings for doing it. And there's a way to word that we posted some videos from one of our live events when we were going over in detail how to approach somebody for a paid in full, because you don't just walk up to somebody and say, do you want to pay your program in full and save X amount? You have to, there's a way of wording it that we covered in that video.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Anyway, John, any questions? I mean, this is a lot coming at you in a hurry, but if it were me, I would pull up the bootstraps, and I would take the first quarter of the year. It's admittedly kind of hard to do it in December, but I would take the first quarter of the year and I would do everything I can to get one of the schools into the 150, 200 range, right? What that naturally tends to do is it tends to pull the others up, but it also keeps you from diffusing your efforts, right? I've talked about over the years, going back 40 years, I did grand openings and I did turnarounds. But it was always, I'd go in and add 100 students in 90 days, more or less. Sometimes, for grand openings, my goal was 100 in the first month, 200 in the first 90 days. When I did a turnaround, my goal was always, a net 100 within the first 90 days. But then that would jump the revenue in today's terms by 30,000 a month, right? And so once you get a successful school, you get one that's really cranking, then it's easier to turn up the volume on the others, or just run a single school highly profitably rather than running around all over the place.
And that's what Jeff is on track for now, because 30 enrollments in a month, and you do it in 3 months, you got almost 100 students right there.
Yeah, that's right. And just so everybody knows, our next Wednesday, and Bob, want to make sure you were on the same page too, that this time is the same time as we're doing that webinar. So everybody's invited to attend that webinar. We won't be in this room for this meeting next Wednesday. John, you're welcome to join us on Thursday at the same time. And that'll be the members who have been with us for a while. We'll be talking more about enrollment process and other things to do over Christmas here.
That's tomorrow at 2 Eastern.
I was talking about next week, next Thursday.
Yeah.
But yeah. But
and it's the same link too, John. So
Okay.
same room, same link, everything else.
Same time.
Jeff, congratulations on having a big month. By all means, keep the momentum going.
And go catch a paid in full. Jump it up another 20.
Yeah, well, grab 5 or 6 of them. You got everything to work with.
Well, you got December, but I was thinking for November. If you
that's right. Go back to everybody you just did, and do the by the way, and give them the paid in full option. My general rule of thumb was 20 to 25%, and in fact, the whole pricing principle that we're using, I came up with years ago. The whole thing was to keep the billing growing while we did 25% paid in fulls, and so that's a reasonable number. So if you did 15, let's say, renewals, doing 3 or 4 of them paid in full this week is completely doable. And that, of course, will jump your revenue way the hell up. And it's not going to hurt your billing either. I would say for the new year, your mission should be to get the, worst case 297, preferably 347 for a new enrollment, but then push that leadership tuition way up. Maybe bump the black belt up a little bit, It could be $50 bump or $100 bump from where they were when they enrolled. But we want to keep it relatively low because that's the fallback position. And by the way, the more we push that, the more we tend to stay at 75 to 90% of the renewals all do the more expensive option. What people think intuitively is, well, everybody's going to choose the cheap choice. Well, no, everybody wants the better one. So we end up with a very high percentage doing that. Sound good?
Sir, Master CL also shared. I shared it with you some ideas for Virginia Beach. We didn't have a date on that, did we?
Well, we do. It is tentative because I'm trying to get the hotels lined up. Jeff, do you have a?
He shared some hotels, sir. So I just texted those over to you.
Well, that was going to be my question. I had put whatever they call it proposals in for several of the Marriott properties.
Yeah, he's got the Marriott Virginia Beach Oceanfront Resort and the Cavalier.
The recording has stopped.
The Cavalier Virginia Beach.
Those were two of the ones that I put in requests for. Jeff, since you're a Virginia Beach resident there, one of the things that Commander Cal's going to be with us on Friday. One of the things he's trying to line up is a behind the scene on the USS Gerald Ford, which is the newest, most advanced aircraft carrier. The commander, the admiral in charge of that unit, whatever they call it, but the carrier arm is a classmate, good friend of his. So where are we, if we were at the Marriott, let's say, where are we distance-wise from the naval base there?
From the naval base, it's about 15 to 20 minutes. It's not that long.
Close proximity.
Yeah, everything is really close around here.
Yeah, he's working on lining up the U.S. Naval SEALs Museum, which is on base there. Of course, you're a former naval guy. The USS Gerald Ford. He's got another friend who does leadership training sessions in conjunction with the Mid-Air Adventures location there. Where they do the whatever you call it, the simulated
free fall.
Yeah.
And Jeff was saying that just to add to the atmosphere is beach weather would be better than snow weather. So he said it's usually better after May.
Yeah, I know that's certainly true. What we're trying to do is connect something with Commander Cal when he was available. And my fear is, since he's running for U.S. Senate for Virginia, is the later we got in the year, the less likely we were to be able to coordinate with his schedule. And I do agree with it. It's not like we're going to tropical timeline in Virginia Beach. It's going to be mediocre weather at best in February. Having spent any number of winters in Washington D.C. and vicinity, I understand what that's like.
Well, it's got to be better than Atlantic City.
Anything's better than Atlantic City. Yeah. Including just as a town, Atlantic City is abysmal and getting drearier.
Well, there's not much of a town there, really.
No. Well, it's gone from this to this to that. So, even as a gambling mecca, it has fallen off. Well, thanks, guys. Greg or Jeff, any and all suggestions would be great. Master Smith, Mr. Dunn, do you have a couple minutes, or are you back to back?
Yes, sir. No, we're good.
Okay. If I can keep you and John, any questions at all, jump into that Facebook group.
Hey, sir, can I add something real quick?
You bet.
Sure.
Hey, this is for John. John, I know it's a lot. I would hold on to a couple of things, whatever that makes sense to you, and then really, really work it hard. Because if you're not working it hard, I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Because that was my issue over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if you find that you're not reaping the benefits that you feel, or share with the group and share with us, because usually it might be just one thing that you're doing wrong that is, holding back your conversions. So,
And to hear it from somebody like Jeff, or somebody who's been through, they've been in your shoes, and some of them not too long ago, and to hear it directly from them. Sometimes when they hear it from Master Oliver, they like to go, well, yeah, of course you guys did it because, oh, look, you were world champion, or you were this or that, right? But when they see all our other members that are doing it, then they start going like, wow, I guess this stuff does work if you do it. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I guess Master Oliver had to go take his regular bathroom break.
yes,
His bladder's on a 90-minute time cycle.
he is backed up this whole week. I mean, hopefully these are leads from leader.
Were we still streaming live as you said that?
Yeah, I did.
No.
We had it on recording.
Yeah. That'll make a good short. I guess Master Oliver had to take his piss.
His normal 90-minute
We'll do a reel.
We'll do an annual blooper section.
Yeah, that's right.
He's got to make room for more tea.
Exactly.
You got to pee for more tea. There it is. Oh, is one of them in and one out?
No. That would be rather disgusting. The risk is grabbing the wrong one.
Hey, Master Oliver, that company you're using, so I've been going through those returns, and they're adding letters where letters shouldn't be, and some of the names you can't even actually make out. I mean, the A's look like Z's, and now some of the addresses, the companies have gone out of business. Like Aaron Palins, he went out of business, but the others have been accurate. It's just that they either misspelled or added a letter, and I check in our database and they're correct, but what I'm seeing on the front of the letter is incorrect. So, and I gotta tell you,
I'm just thinking about how their systems work. I mean, that's Handy Mail. They've always been really good.
they have a different font.
Well, that is the problem with the handwriting things. Is the handwriting thing? Of course the post office is horrible to begin with, but the handwriting thing, the problem may be that the automated machines don't read them right.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, it's an automated process. They're just taking the data that we give them, and then we might want to, check our data when we give them the spreadsheet, make sure it doesn't get screwed up in translation.
Yeah, I mean, like Cody McGee, I checked his address, not touching it. It's 377 State Street. But then if you look at the front of the letter, it's 377 S State Street. So that S was added. It wasn't given to them. And then Julina Valienzar, I don't know how you pronounce it, but they've got two Z's there. And our data has it as one Z.
Well, let's ask Cassie if there's some glitch in the system, or whether, or go back to the original file and see if that was in the original file. The problem with mail houses is what you've got to watch is they say they mailed 10,000 and they really mailed 5, right? I mean, because that's where their benefit is. In this kind of stuff, I don't know if it's even possible for there to be a glitch. Although the handwriting font thing is potentially problematic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, just want to bring it to your attention.
Yeah. The question on the handwriting thing, of course, is does the having the handwritten thing have enough of a bump in response to, justify some of the other stuff being kind of flaky? And who knows?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
What's that?
I haven't seen a good response from this mailing yet. So.
Well, what we know is we've seen a good response by hitting our prospect and member list over and over and over harder than we've done in years, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, if somebody asked me how our response was on any one of these things, it's like, who knows? But, we've reactivated more members this year than we signed up people completely last year.
I wonder if that's a good marketing piece, sir. Welcoming back, some of our former members. They went out and searched and found that, the place to be was here, and now they've returned and they're hitting higher numbers than they ever hit before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because we did get we did really well on that this year.
Yeah. Well, certainly getting good testimonials from people like Jeff.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I thought I knew what I was doing, and I thought I knew what they were teaching, and the reality is I came back, almost begrudgingly, and so the more we can get testimonials like that and then get it out to that same list, the better off we would be.
Yeah, and I think a little bit, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I chat with Jeff off and on,
Yeah.
and I feel that he became complacent, right? And he finds himself challenged now that he's in the group, feeling that he's not doing that great, and he can be doing much better.
Yeah.
I would repost that Amanda's a 48 paid in full
Yeah.
again, and that would be a good one to expand upon. Maybe explain that a little bit more. They might not understand what that means.
Yeah. Master Smith, where'd you come up with 300,000 when you posted that?
Posted what?
Cash contest between 55 schools. We're going to try to get them to cumulatively do 300,000 or more in the cash contest.
Well, I just said a minimum.
Yeah.
That was a minimum. That wasn't a high. In other words, if the schools don't get engaged and we don't get at least 300, then there's no contest. The contest is off, so to speak. That's what I did last year and the year before.
Oh, I know. I think it's better to give them a number that seems kind of ridiculous to expand their thinking than it is to give them one that's so ridiculously low. Out of 50 people, 300,000 would be an average of what, 20,000 each or something?
Something.
Yeah.
Or less.
Yeah.
If you had 50 schools and they did 20,000, but that's if 50 were doing it. Last year, I think maybe 20.
That'd be 6,000 each.
Yeah, we had about 20 that actually participated last year.
Yeah.
That's I think what I was coming up with. I wanted them to do about 10 to 20,000 a piece.
Yeah. Why don't we say our objective is 3 million for December? Certainly sounds a lot better.
Well, it was to go to dinner. If we say 3 million, and
No, you're missing my point. Let's just never say the 300,000 number again. What we could do is that to go to dinner they got to do say 100,000 paid in fulls, right? That's an individual target. But let's say
I didn't put an individual. That wasn't an individual. That was a.
I understand. What I'm saying is, let's beat the drum that our mission is for the schools cumulatively to do 3 million or more in December in paid in fulls. Because now we get them all thinking that they should be doing like 100,000, 200,000, right? And certainly, Jason and Tim and those guys should be doing 150, 200,000. And
we had school. Remember last year we had schools that did the top one was 150, maybe 180.
Right.
And we had a couple that were in 90 or 100.
Right. So let's spend every waking hour talking about, we had any number of schools that did 100,000 or more. I think the winner was 180. let's use numbers like that, to stir the pot. Say our mission is to, let's get 3 million or more, among the mastery leadership schools. This is funny. I'm watching the news, and President Biden is speaking at a wind turbine factory in Colorado, and the shot they were showing was an offshore, in the ocean, wind turbines, off the East Coast. It's like, whoever just pulled up the stock footage could have had, the wide open plains of Kansas, something that would have more represented Colorado. Because they don't put wind turbines in the mountains, by the way.
Yeah.
They're afraid the Texans will fly into them, trying to get their little planes over the 14ers.
I don't know how they get away or justify that. I mean, I had an uncle who he was an electrician and he used to work on those things, and they broke down constantly. He said they were high maintenance, and he said the bird kills when they would pull up one of those things were unbelievable. They would see hundreds of birds chopped up or dead right there on the ground in front of them. I mean, God forbid. I mean, so they're hitting bald eagles, endangered species. I mean, how do they justify that?
It's the mythology of renewable energy. The climate change crowd has anchored themselves into solar and wind as quote unquote renewable. And if you wanted to dramatically decrease CO2 emissions internationally, what you do is shift everybody to natural gas, off of burning wood and coal. And then the next step is you shift them from natural gas to nuclear, unless there's some other technical breakthrough. The problem with both solar and wind is you need massive battery backup in order to have a consistent flow of energy, and there's no possible way economically to create enough battery backup for the solar and the wind. California, part of the reason their grid is horrible, and same thing is happening in Texas, strangely enough, is that they have too much power. California has too much power midday, so the grid is overloaded because there's so much solar and so much daylight. And then at night, when people get home from work, they have brownouts because they don't have enough power back up when the sun starts to go down. Anyway, let's talk about ramping up our productivity here. Did you set a time with MJ? He had reached out about the renewal.
Yeah.
When is that?
Monday.
Monday?
No, actually he leaves. He's leaving actually Friday. He leaves on either tomorrow or Friday, and he won't be back till the 9th. So we set up the 11 at 11. The
11 a.m. on the 4th. With
No,
Master
11. No, he's not going to be here. He's not going to be here this Monday. He's going to be in, I don't know. He's going to be out of town for 9 days, he said. So it should be set up for the 11th at 11, Bob. Check.
Oh, Monday the 11th? Okay.
Check the calendar. Should be in there.
He confirmed December 4th.
No.
He texted me. He said, "Hi, sir. Master Smith wanted to meet after November. Can we do 12/4 around 11 or 12?"
No.
And I said,
"It's the 11th. I have it. He's going to be gone till the 9th, from the 1st to the 9th.
Well, let's Bob communicate with MJ and see if what he was thinking. Jeff, are you not available on the 4th?
No, I am.
Okay.
But he wasn't. He was going to be out of town. Yeah.
Well, so text him back and confirm that, Bob.
okay.
Yeah. Tell him that, and remind him that he said he was going to be out of town on the 4th, that he doesn't come back till the 9th. So we set it up for the 11th. But if he can do the 4th, we'll do the 4th.
Well, or he can do it from wherever he's at.
That's what I said. If he can do the 4th, we'll do the 4th.
Right. The with MJ, so Bob, did we only do 1 year? I'm looking at the
Say it again?
I was trying to figure out what we did with the with MJ's enrollment.
He wants to pay in full for another year.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Did he
talked,
say it again, Jeff?
he said he wanted to pay in full for another year. Want to know what the price would be.
Okay. I guess where I was going with that is, you know, a renewal isn't a year, right? Here's the agreement. So what we did is we did it through December 2026 and prepaid the first year, and then set it up to automatically bill. And then this was the option to renew. Is the option to renew was basically the same thing, prepay another year or prepay the balance of the renewal.
Let me take a screenshot of that. Hold it, just leave it
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And what is his monthly rate?
34.97, I think.
Okay. You had it right there.
Did I?
Right there.
Oh yeah, 34.97.
Okay. 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 Again, option to prepay. So I've got that part on there and I'll go through that with him.
Yeah, yeah. I can send this over to you if you want, but you
Yeah,
got
do that just in case I need to forward it to him.
yeah.
Yeah, it would be better to talk to him this Monday, Bob. Because
Yeah.
he had a record November.
Good. Yeah, it'd be nice to get him to prepay the 3 years.
Yeah, the that meeting with Chris actually helped him.
Good, good. Yeah, they were the two that I was.
Chris completely turned him around.
Yeah, they were the two I was most worried about.
Yeah.
And so on our people who paid in full last year, Bob, was there anybody from the previous year that we needed to flip to go back to? I remember we went through, you had that list handy. But it was MJ, Chris, Paul, Jason, Marty, and then Tim, you had basically pushed him out to pay another year. What was the previous year?
I think Paul, I think Pendergrass was the year before, and Jan.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Marty.
Member Saul.
Lynn.
Lynn, Sal.
Oh, Bob, would you follow up on getting the video from the last meeting?
Yeah, I think he sent that over to me. I will.
Go back to the top on that if you can. Yeah, that's it. That was it. Okay.
Anybody have any idea how Sal is doing?
No.
Probably wouldn't hurt for Bob to reach out and set up a call with me.
Yeah. Bob, when's the last time you reached out to Sal?
It's probably been a few months.
Last live event, I think.
Yeah, I invited him out to the live, not this November live event, but the previous live event. I invited him out as a guest. He couldn't make it though.
The one in Virginia Beach might be a good one to invite him to.
Yeah, it'd be right up his alley too.
Yeah.
Did send me over that list that Jeff had sent you, but I think oh, you did already. Okay. Yeah, the two he had sent me are ones I already have a proposal out for.
Okay.
Say it again. The two he sent you.
Yeah, I have proposals out at 3
Okay.
hotels, but 2 of the 3 are the ones he sent me.
Okay.
I put I forget how many they let you, 3 or 4 proposals in on with Marriott.
Uh-huh.
And the 2 he sent were 2 of the 3 or 4, whatever it was. But yeah, so we have an appointment with MJ, and then we need to figure out what we want to. Jeff, do you want to go ahead and set a time with Chris and see if he wants to do? We gave him the same options as MJ.
Yeah. His financial situation is not as good as MJ's.
Yeah, he's got the expensive ex-wife for one.
Exactly, is killing him, and the gross has dropped to 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk to him anyway.
But I think I set up the agreement exactly the same as MJ's.
You didn't give MJ a 2-year option?
No. No reason not to if he can't do the 3.
Yeah, I'll probably at least mention the savings on each one.
Yeah.
I said, do you want to save 8,000? Do you want to save 20,000, or do you want to save 35,000?
Perfect.
Pick one.
Yeah. Exactly right. Exactly right. Couldn't agree more. Bob, why don't you reach out to Sal? Jeff, how is Lynn doing?
Maybe that would be good to set Lynn up with me too, Bob.
Well, I was thinking Sal, Lynn, Paul, Jason, Paul Helston, Chris, and Marty.
Well, he just talked with Paul Helston.
Paul wants to quit.
Helston?
Yep.
Yeah.
Really? Why?
He said that everybody's been pulling him the other direction. He can't get his staff to do. He said the year was bad. It was, and I said, well, Paul, you have to realize you like quadrupled your gross, so maybe it wasn't as good as the year before, but still, it's 4 times what it was. And he said, I know, but my wife doesn't want me to continue, and so and my staff won't be engaged. They won't get on the meetings. because they don't like, what's being said. And I'm going, what do you mean they don't like what's being said? And he says, well, they don't always talk about the topic. They get off topic a lot. And I'm going like, I said, Paul, I have no idea what you're talking about there, but it sounds like the tail wagging the dog. I said, you're letting your staff run your school. That's probably why your gross is down. He said, well, I prepaid the year, and so we were gonna stop there. And I said, well, I did look at your agreement, and it did show that your agreement runs till February, so you still have a couple months. I said, why don't we focus on these last couple months, getting your gross up? And if you're going to stop after that, you can stop, but let's end on a better note rather than quitting on a low note.
Yeah.
And I thought I said, I'll be willing to work one-on-one with you till we get you up. I said, everybody who I've done that with, when they implemented what we were talking about, they all had record months. And, why not, since you've got 2 months anyway? And then I wanted to slap him. He said, well, I thought it was kind of like you tell us to do with our students. If they don't want to continue, you don't want to force them. And I said, I don't know what you're referring to there. I said it's prevention versus cure, but I don't think we ever said that. And they said, well, you say you don't take anybody to court, or that you shouldn't take anybody to court, or this or that. So I didn't think it would be a problem.
Good.
But Bob put him on your calendar. I said, I didn't do the contract, so it's till February is my understanding, and I can't change any of that. I said, I think you're going to need to talk to Master Oliver. And so he said, okay. So I think Bob set him up for you on Monday, Bob.
Let me check.
Yeah,
Monday.
That one has always been the one that the wife and the staff doesn't like us.
Yeah.
I think
Greg said
maybe Jan too, not continuing, could have some influence on him too.
Greg Moody said he walked him off the cliff a couple of times from quitting.
Maybe we should have Greg reach out to him.
I think it goes all the way back to me saying that I didn't like his staff member having green hair or blue hair, whatever it was.
That's what initiated it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Which
think the wife.
I'll stand by that 100%.
I think the wife was offended by, I think, language or something. She didn't like or something.
No, she's very, very liberal.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. So she doesn't like anything that doesn't, they're in Minneapolis, right? She and the staff, it's like I said that to Jason one time. He had the head instructor had blue hair. I said, I wouldn't do that, So, well, a lot of people here have. I said, I understand that, but I'm not sure it sets the example. If I'm a, successful parent, I bring the kid in, you're asking me for, $40,000. Just because a lot of people do it doesn't mean I want my kid doing it. Okay, Bob, what do we have in the pipeline?
Nothing right now.
No?
No, sir.
I've got one, right?
Where are we at with oh, wait a second. Let me take that back. We had where are we at with my one new guy?
I set up another meeting with him before I sent to Master Oliver.
Yeah, he's my 6-week guy. Tim Babiak.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is he at?
I didn't put him with Master Oliver yet.
Oh, That's right. Yeah, you were going to talk to him one more time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Who is John LaRoe?
he's our new guy out of Canada.
Okay.
Um,
He already signed up, right?
yeah, he signed up over a month ago, but he took a month off
Okay.
before actually getting engaged. This was his first meeting this Tuesday. Or I take that back. He was on a Thursday meeting, and he was one that whined a little bit about, I'm already doing great numbers with my intro flow and my conversions. And I said, that was the one where we talked about, Tuesday would be a better fit for you. And he was on this Tuesday meeting and definitely was impressed with some of the language and the chatter that was going on in that meeting room. So, yeah, I've got him set with you to do a first one-on-one on Monday, and he's pretty engaged. He'll have a lot of questions for you. So
Well, keep in mind what his issue is, though, is he's got good enrollment flow. He's got, let me get back to my notes on John. The problem is he's
That's the one
doing
that was doing 60 something at the one.
one location, Canadian. He's again one of the reactivation. He's been following us. I think he may have been a member a short time. He's come to at least one of the live meetings. Came to a Disney, the Disney meeting. But the problem is he's doing everything himself. And let me get back to, I haven't found my notes yet.
He has 3?
One. We have 2 from Canada. One is the guys with 3 locations.
Okay.
That you and I talked to for an hour, and then they were going to Brazil.
Yeah.
And this is John. He's got 1 location. Trying to find my notes. This is how far back it goes. But the biggest problem is he's working his ass off. He bought a membership at the golf club, doesn't have time to use it. I think all of his staff are part-timers. Yeah, 318 students, 63,000 a month Canadian. Right? So he's at
Say those numbers one more time.
63,000 Canadian. 318 students.
Okay.
So in US dollar terms, he's at what would it be?
45 or 50?
47.
Yeah.
So he's at 47,000, and he's average revenue per student is 148.
That's
he
Canadian.
told me yesterday he has no room for any more new students.
Even more reason to raise your prices.
Yeah.
148 student value, is that Canadian?
US.
Okay.
Canadian, it's 198. And he's charging 140 for basic Canadian, 230 for leadership, 255 for mastery.
Say it again.
140, 230, 255.
Okay, are you doing Canadian or American?
Canadian.
Okay, say it one more time.
140 for basic, which in US dollar terms is 105. And then 230 for leadership, which is his next step, which is 172 US. And then 255 for what he calls mastery, which is 191 US. Every conversation is he's stressed out, he needs time, he was too busy to work on the business. He's worked, he's done the Kovar stuff, he's done Fred Merton stuff, He was one of the early Tybo guys. Runs the school 5 days a week. And
Why do he has to pay rent 5 days out of the week?
and his well, yeah, by all means, don't tell him he needs to work harder though. Yeah, all of his staff are part-time. His wife's working at the school also. But he's overwhelmed, just doesn't have time. Doesn't have time to work on the school, doesn't have the time to be with the kids, doesn't have time to go to the golf club, and all of his staff are part-timers.
Yeah, I had asked him if he had an instructor training program, and he said he did a long time ago, but they kind of did away with it. And I said that might be something to bring up with Master Smith to help, training your white belt class, your lower end classes.
That would ease him a little bit, but
what he thinks is all of his students are great, his curriculum is great, but he teaches a lot of the classes, I think, and he doesn't really have any backup, right? And I was telling him, well, I mean, rather than be at 63,000 a month with 318 students, you should be at 120. And he's going, well, I'm making plenty of money, I'm just working too hard. And I said, well, you need to have, do you have part-time staff or full-time staff? Oh, I've got really great instructors. They're all part-timers. Like, well, you need some full-timers. Well, yeah, but then I'd have to train them, and I don't have time to train them. And, then I wouldn't be teaching the classes. And
meetings, and we'll train them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking to him yesterday, I get the feeling that he believes he's the star, right? And nobody else can teach the class as good as he can.
Yeah.
And he has a problem relinquishing that to anybody else.
And he already signed his paperwork and everything?
Oh yeah, he's good to go. He made a payment.
Yeah, he's good to go.
Okay.
But he was when we enrolled him, he was saying, well, why don't I wait till the spring when I'll have more time? I said, if you don't have time in December, you're sure as hell not going to have time in February. So that's him.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get we'll stir the pot a little bit.
Any luck with getting text messages? Is that not going to be able to be possible again?
No, that's possible. The app we were using is kind of sideways, and we have to get it approved. One crazy thing after another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was that? I had it up, but then I just when I reloaded my computer, I lost it. But Demio, here it is. Yeah, so I was looking at that Demio, so it looks like it's pulling up a lot of the contacts without phone numbers too. So I was going to go through them and make calls, but
what is
Demio?
Oh, the webinar.
Yeah.
You know where that's coming from?
You told me, and I don't remember now.
That's from inviting people on LinkedIn and having them, when they raise their hand, there's a form that just asks them for name and phone number.
Okay.
So then it puts them in as registered, but it doesn't collect any more information.
Yeah, I told you I went to the doctor yesterday, right?
No.
Yeah, they did a lobotomy.
Jeff. I'll look at that. Yeah, I haven't heard back from my dermatologist. They're supposed to do something with my nose.
Did you have a cancerous thing on it, or?
Well, they're doing a biopsy on it, but she said it looked cancerous. She said not the cancer that'll kill you, but the cancer that'll spread. So we're going to take it out of there and do a biopsy on it.
Yeah.
The last time when I had one off my back, that came back a little. It wasn't. There was some that were benign, but there was one that had. It's not melanoma, but it's a level or two underneath that.
Yeah.
They made me come back in and they cut a bigger hole in me.
Yeah.
To make sure they got it all. So I hope they don't cut a bigger hole here, but it wasn't that big. It was it looked kind of like a wart kind of thing but it kind of popped up in just the last couple of months. But
I noticed that when you were here. I was good.
Yeah, I had them on my back that were really bothering me.
Yeah.
And then she said, what was happening on the back was the it might be the soap I'm using or the dry skin that I have to have a lotion thing. So she did a prescription anti-itch thing to put on there till it, because it was itching all the time. So I was scratching it all the time. So all of the moles looked red and inflamed. And then Huda was saying, okay, maybe something's wrong with your moles. Maybe you better go look at them. And she said, no, they all look good. And you know that one on the side of my head, that dark spot there on the side of my head, it's
Yeah.
kind of large. And that's the one that I thought might be a problem. And she said, no, that one's fine. There's nothing wrong with that one. But this one, she said, we're taking that off today.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, whatever you think. So,
Well, the cap covers it, so it's not
yeah,
visually it's not a big deal. Hopefully, you know, catching all that stuff early is so important.
yeah.
I need to get more on top of that myself.
Yeah, and until you actually something, like my back was itching, and then I had Huda look at it, and she said, "Yeah, they're all red and inflamed. You better go have them checked out."
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone in either.
Yeah.
It's almost like you get to a point where something's bothering you, but
Yeah.
you don't want to wait too long.
And Master Oliver, this so the 83, to be clear, is going to be for the advisor.
84 is the martial arts one. 24 is the advisor one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
It says
that.
martial arts school.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know it's the advisor.
but of those, I was just looking at it. 65 of them were pulled in from LinkedIn.
That's good.
Yeah. It's good because it's created some traffic from that live event that I put up. It's bad because it just doesn't have contact
Okay.
information other than the email.
Oh,
Yeah. Is it pulling them into our? We pulling these into Infusion?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's ending up on the broader list.
Okay.
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 Talk to you guys in a bit.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, damn it.
Yeah, Bob, we'll try to get that texting resolved.
All righty, yeah. Okay, well, I still got plenty of people to chase down for Master Smith and get some follow-ups there, and then we'll see how.
Oh, and then reschedule Anthony. He didn't show for me.
Oh, okay. I will. I'll get
Hopefully
him
you're
going.
feeling better.
I don't know what the hell it was. It started around 3 a.m. and I was just puking my guts up, and I I felt like shit. So I was like, I just had to sleep. I
Yeah.
felt like hell. All right. Talk to you
Okay.
later.
Talk to you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.
Just a lot of excitement and quite a few people getting ready to catch that. Leah, the CIA director from Defense Secretary from the White House staff, joining us right now. But Leah, it's good to see you. These pro-Palestinian protests are popping up everywhere, and I'm sure that has got a reignited concern for the administration that wants to continue to put again, the Israelis deal with them, and yet this wave of support, even within the party, the Democratic Party, for the Palestinians. How have you done with well, obviously, people in this country have the right to protest and to do it without any violence or disruption. And but that's something we accept in a free society. But I think the administration and frankly everybody has to keep their eye on the ball here. The ball, the mission here that is taking place as a result of this war is really twofold. One is to destroy Hamas and make sure that they never again can conduct an attack like Al-Qaeda. The other is obviously to get our hostages released, and that's important as well. Whatever we could do to obviously get the hostages released that we had over these last number of days, I think is a good thing. But at the same time, the focus here still has to be on destroying Hamas and making sure that that kind of attack never happens again. I think that has to be the principal focus. You know, I was speaking to David Friedman, the former ambassador, and one of the things he noted with me is push came to shove, and the United States was essentially telling Israel, stand down, your response to this is over the top, you're going to have to cool it. He said Israel has an obligation to say no. We have to do this. Do you think it will come to that? That's not the case. We have strong bonds with Israel. We've had a strong relationship over a number of years since their creation. We're in many ways obligated to work with them in order to make sure that they're able to maintain the state of Israel. So I think in the end that the relationship that we've seen is going to continue. I'm sure that the Prime Minister has gotten advice from the President, and I'm sure that the Prime Minister's given advice to the President. That's what that relationship needs to be all about. The ability to be honest with one another and be able to say what you think. But in the end, the goal is the same.